Kate Bavelock with the Sandwich Chamber with your weekly chamber update. I have with me today two guests from the Glenna Cole Foundation, Bill Burbank and Barbara Burbank, and they're going to tell us a little bit about the foundation and an upcoming fundraiser that they have. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you.
Would you tell us a little bit about the Glenna Cole Foundation and the story behind the organization?
Of course, it's the Glenna Cole Fund for Hope. We're an incorporated 501c3. It was established in 2009 as a result of the passing of our best friend's daughter. She had stage 4 melanoma, and she was 26 when she died. And we're here to just carry on her mission, which was to promote awareness of the dangers of overexposure to sunlight and to tanning beds. She had indicated that she wished she had somebody who had told her about the true dangers when she was younger. So she's not here to tell the story, so that's why we established the nonprofit. There are a few members of the committee, mostly they're Glenna's friends from high school and college, and a few family members like ourselves. But Glenna was a lifelong resident of Cape Cod. She lived in Marston's Mills all her life. And we've known her since she was 3 years old. Our daughters met in preschool in West Barnstable. And Glenna was a big member of her high school community. She was a head lifeguard at Douth's Beach in Barnstable for 5 years. And like many girls her age, went to tanning salons locally just to maintain that look of what young women think is healthy and to maintain that sun tan that she got every summer at the beach. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think one of my memories as a friend of hers is that we both went through some pretty serious health issues together. We used to compare medical issues. I remember one visit she made to our house when she was hairless and had gone through a lot of soul searching about where she was headed and so on. And she came into our bedroom, and I was convalescing at the time, and we were often comparing the color combinations of our medical ingestions that we would have to take in the morning and the evening. Glenna was a good friend of our kids, and one of my fondest memories of her was just before she became diagnosed with melanoma. We, as two families, went sailing in the British Virgin Islands, and she and our two daughters would be camped out on the mesh over the bows of the catamaran and would not leave the sun. They were just totally dedicated to coming home as brown as possible. And little did we know that Glenna was carrying her tumor in her thigh at the time, and it was a complete reversal from utter joy and relaxation to the alarm of what was out in front of us as a couple and family friends and our daughters wrestling with the end-of-life circumstance. So it was an eye-opening experience.
So the Fund for Hope, it has been established in Glenna's honor to put forward the message of being careful, particularly with tanning salons, but also with sun exposure. Why do you think that message is so important to us here in Sandwich and in the Upper Cape?
I think the fact that our environment is what really holds us all here. Our beaches, our beautiful climate encourages us all to be outdoors as much as possible. And the draw of the beaches, whether it's the north side or the south side, is so strong. And most of our public beaches have no shade protection on them. So even if you want to be at the beach and enjoy the ocean and the winds and the smells, you have to bring your own protection with you. And so I think, you know, we're so encouraged to be outdoors. We think it's a healthy place for us to be, and it is if you practice sun safety. And I don't think that message is being taught early enough. I think we're hearing more about melanoma. I think we're learning the statistics more and more, at least my family is, and anyone associated with this cause is. But I think just generally, people are becoming cognizant of the true risk and the danger. Yes, you can combat melanoma if detected early enough, but another problem on the Upper Cape is our lack of dermatologists. There are significant numbers of them, but many of them do not have room for more patients, and many of us, ourselves included, are going off Cape to receive our annual exams by dermatologists, and that's a frightening dilemma as well. The other problem too is the diagnosis of melanoma. In Glenna's case, she had had a mole removed from her lower leg, and quite a bit of tissue was removed at the time, and it was sent to a pathologist. And the results came back clear. There was no signs of melanoma. And then 3 or 4 years later, she had a growth in her lymph nodes in her groin, and she thought, I'll just go to my, at the time she was at Salve Regina, a senior there, and she went to her health services and said, you know, what do you think it is? They thought it was a pulled muscle or a strain of some sort, and she put it out of her head until she realized it wasn't going away. And so it took a little bit of time to diagnose it, and at that point it was stage 3. And we later discovered that the pathology report was incorrect, and that the melanoma had been there for that long. But, you know, most of us don't have those visible signs that you always see on little posters, you know, of what a melanoma looks like. Often it doesn't exist. You can't see it. It just metastasizes inside your system. And quite often those melanomas are smaller than a pinpoint. So it takes incredible training to discover early stages of melanoma. So again, it's hard to detect it. It's hard to admit that being outdoors can make you ill. So I think that's really the story for the Upper Cape. And that as parents, once again, we need to remind our children about the risks that life presents to us and the seriousness with which we have to take almost all of our actions or inactions.
You know, one of the other things, Kate, that from the male standpoint that I learned fairly recently is, you know, for golfers, particularly male golfers who started at an early age. When I grew up, I didn't wear caps like I do today, and most kids do, perhaps. But they take their caps off if they're running around their yard or even if they're out playing golf. This disease can come back and haunt you. And the point I want to make is that one of the highest risk ages for men in melanoma is men over 40 that played a lot of tennis or baseball or were at the beach a lot, and it just pops up.